everyone, a very pleasant day to you. President Bola Tinubu to depart Abuja on a three-state visit to Borno, Bauchi, Lagos states. The Minister of Information, National Orientation, Idris, reiterates current administration Tinubu is taking deliberate steps to stabilize Nigerian's economy, strengthen national. And Governor Sani of Kaduna State approves enhanced service conditions for teachers. A very good day to you and welcome to Impact News Hour on Firstness News Port Harcourt. I am Becky Usoro. Now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu will on Saturday depart Abuja on a three-state visit to Borno, Bauchi, and Lagos states. In Borno State, the president is expected to commission several projects executed by the Babagana Zulum administration in collaboration with the federal government. He will also attend the wedding ceremony of Sadiq Sharif, son of former Borno State Governor and Senator Ali Modu Sharif, and his bride, Hadiza Kam Salam. From Maiduguri, President Tinubu will proceed to Bauchi State to condole with the Bauchi State government and the family of Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi, the renowned Islamic cleric and leader of Tijaniya Muslim Brotherhood, who passed away on November 27. After the condolence visits, the president will travel to Lagos, where he will spend the forthcoming end-of-year holidays. While in Lagos, President Tinubu is expected to serve as the guest of honor at the Eyo Festival scheduled for December 27, amongst others engagements. The festival, to be held at the Tafawa Balewa Square, will honor notable personalities, including the president's late mother, Alhaja Abi Batu Mugaji, former Lagos State Governor Alhaji Lateef Jakande, and Chief Michael Otedola. Away from that story, President Bola Tinubu has presented a budget proposal of 58.18 trillion naira for the 2026 fiscal year to a joint section of the National Assembly, with capital recurrent non-debt expenditure standing at 15.25 trillion naira. President Tinubu presented the budget pegging the capital expenditure at 26.08 trillion and putting the crude oil benchmark at $64.85 per barrel. The president said the expected total revenue 34.33 trillion naira, 15.52 trillion naira for debt servicing, and the budget deficit is 23.85 trillion naira, representing 4.28% of the GDP. He explained that the proposal was anchored on a crude oil production of 1.84 million barrels per day and an exchange rate of 1,400 naira to the US dollar for the 2026 fiscal year. In terms of sectoral allocation, defense and security took the lion's share with 5.41 trillion naira, followed by infrastructure at 3.56 trillion naira. Education received 3.52 trillion naira, while health received 2.48 trillion naira in the proposal titled Budget of Consolidation, Renewed Resilience, and Shared Prosperity. Addressing the lawmakers, President described the budget proposal as not just accounting lines and cautioned governors that he may be forced to issue an executive order to enforce direct allocations to local governments if they fail to comply with the Supreme Court's ruling affirming financial autonomy for Nigeria's third tier of the government. We now move on to another story. Meanwhile, reactions have trailed from the People's Democratic Party, faulting President Bola Tinubu's 2026 budget proposal, describing it as a budget of consolidated renewed sufferings. A statement by a spokesman, Ini Ememabong, says the budget falls short in tackling widespread poverty, rising living costs, and insecurity. He explained that the president stated that the economy under his watch grew by 3.98% without stating the sectors that stimulated the growth or identifying those who benefited from it. According to him, the figure reflects economic decline the nation has suffered under the leadership of the APC-led federal government when compared to the growth rate of 6.87% recorded in 2013, same period under the last PDP administration, which was driven largely by non-oil sectors such as agriculture and trade. Away from that story, in another development, President Bola Tinubu has cautioned governors that he may be forced to issue an executive order to reinforce direct allocations to local governments if they fail to comply with the Supreme Court's ruling affirming financial autonomy for Nigeria's third tier of government. President Tinubu gave the warning during the 15th National Executive Committee meeting of the All Progressive Congress APC at the State House Conference Center, Abuja. Addressing the NEC members comprising governors, National Working Committee members, and other party leaders, the president said the Supreme Court has capped it for Eurogain, saying give them their money directly. The Supreme Court had, on July 11, 2024, ruled in favor of the federal government's suit seeking to reinforce financial independence of local governments. The court ordered the direct payment of allocation from the Federation account to local governments, a practice provided for in Section 162, 5-8 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended but widely flouted by most state governments through joint accounts. The 7-member panel of the Apex Court declared that it was unconstitutional for state governments to retain or manage funds meant for local councils. Away from that story, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has stressed the need for the federal government to provide jobs for teeming Nigerians and open up more opportunities for them to realize their dreams in 2026. Abbas made a call in his closing remarks at the joint section of the National Assembly on the presentation of the 2006 budget proposal by President Bola Tinubu, describing 2025 as a year of challenging global conditions and fiscal headwinds. The Speaker called for more realistic revenue projection and project execution in subsequent budget cycles. He stressed that the outgoing year recorded stability, renewed confidence and steady progress, adding that the economy weathered a period of adjustment and is now repositioning itself for sustained expansion. The Speaker called for sober reflection on what went wrong in 2025, urging the government to pick up some lessons to guide its management of resources and project execution in 2026. He commended President Tinubu for his bold economic policies, stressing that gains have been recorded in the past few months and lauded his move to end multiple budgets running concurrently. Away from that story, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has said the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking deliberate steps to stabilize Nigeria's economy, strengthen national security, and lay the foundation for long-term national renewal. Idris, who spoke at the dinner with All Progressive Congress APC support groups held at the Nigerian Air Force Conference Center in Abuja, thanked the support groups for their loyalty and sustained backing, describing them as a critical pillar of the party's success. According to him, the Tinubu administration assumed office at a difficult period for the country, necessitating bold decisions to address deep-seated economic and security challenges while safeguarding Nigerians' future. The minister said early gains from the reform agenda were already evident, citing improved investor confidence, increased oil production, stronger revenue performance, and targeted support for states, businesses, and vulnerable Nigerians. He stressed that transparent communication and citizen engagement were central for all administration's approach, noting that reforms must be clearly explained to build public trust and a shared sense of national purpose. Moving on, the Nigerian police force has said it has not been served with any judgment or court order directing it to stop the enforcement of the motor vehicle tinted glass permit policy in a suit reportedly instituted by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Solunkule Edun. A Delta State High Court issued an ex parte injunction restraining the Inspector General Police and the Nigerian Police Force from resuming the enforcement of the tinted glass permit policy nationwide. In granting the order, Justice Joe Egu also barred the police from harassing, arresting, detaining, or extorting citizens and motorists on account of the policy. The order followed a suit filed at the Delta State High Court by the applicant, Israel Joe, through his lawyers led by Kunle Edun, after the police announced the resumption of the enforcement which had been suspended in October. Away from that story, 11 Nigerian soldiers and their aircraft have been taken off from Burkina Faso following their release after 10 days in detention. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebe Ebienfa, who disclosed this to newsmen in Abuja, lauded the Embassy of Nigeria in Burkina Faso and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Abuja. He further revealed that the aircraft would first fly to Ghana before rerouting to Portugal, as it was not granted permission to fly over Malian airspace. The soldiers have been detained after the aircraft made an unscheduled landing in Bobo Dioulasso on December 8 due to a technical issue shortly after departing Lagos en route to Portugal. Away from that story, in a decisive move to strengthen the education sector and reward professionals and dedication, Governor Obasani of Kaduna State has approved enhanced service conditions for teachers across the state, effective from August 1, 2025. The mandatory retirement age for teachers has been extended from 60 to 65 years, while the maximum years of service have been increased from 35 to 40 years. According to the Commissioner of Information, Ahmed Mayaki, in addition, teachers posted to rural and hard-to-reach communities will now receive a special allowance. He emphasized that the approval aligns with the harmonized retirement age for teachers 1 Act 2022 enacted by the National Assembly, which exempt teachers from the general public service and retirement threshold of 60 years or 35 years of service in recognition of their critical role in national development. He said that a circular conveying the approval has been issued by the Office of the Governor. Moving on, Abia State Governor Alex Otti has clarified that his recent visit to Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB at Sokoto Correctional Center, was not motivated by political ambition. Speaking at the Government House, Umahia, during a visit from the leadership of the Abia Diaspora Commission and the medical team of the Abia Global Medical Mission 2025, Otti addressed criticism circulating online regarding his trip. He responded to a viral video in which a man questioned the purpose of his visit, stressing that his engagement with Kanu was intended to promote dialogue and foster peace. Otti noted that the differing opinions expressed in the video are part of the democratic process, emphasizing that disagreement does not necessarily validate any particular viewpoint. The governor also assured the public that he has no plans to contest any political office after the completion of his tenure as a governor. Moving on, former Anambra State Governor and 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has paid the National Examinations Council NECO examination fees for 148 inmates across correctional centers in Anambra State who sat for the November/December 2025 NECO GCE. Obi also donated 15 million naira to the College of Nursing Sciences, Boromeo, Onisha, to support infrastructure upgrades and improve healthcare training. The Anambra State Coordinator of National Examination Council NECO, Emilia Njoko, received Obi during an unscheduled visit to the council's Oka office, expressing surprise at his appearance. Explaining his intervention, Obi said the inmates have approached him through a delegate after being informed that they risk exclusion from the examinations due to unpaid fees. He disclosed that shortly after making the commitment, some of his friends in the diaspora also contributed funds and pledged to support the initiative in subsequent year. We'll now move on to the foreign scene. The U.S. says its military has carried out a massive strike against the Islamic State group in Syria in response to a deadly attack on American forces in the country. The U.S. Central Commander said fighter jets attacked helicopters and artillery, struck more than 70 targets at multiple locations across central Syria. Aircraft from Jordan were also involved. It said the operation employed more than 100 precision munitions targeting known as infrastructure and weapon sites. President Donald Trump said his strike against its strongholds follows the 13 December ambush in the city of Palmyra, in which 2 U.S. soldiers and a U.S. civilian interpreter were killed. Moving on, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said There will be no more wars in Ukraine if his country is treated with respect, and dismissed claims that Moscow is planning to attack European countries as nonsense in a televised event lasting almost 4.5 hours. He was asked whether there will be new special military operations, Putin's term, for the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Earlier this month, Putin said Russia was not planning to go to war with Europe, but was ready right now if Europeans wanted. He has long accused NATO of going back on an alleged 1999 Western promise to then Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev before the fall of the Soviet Union, later denying the remark had been made. And now in sports, Nigerian midfielder Wilfred Ndidi has been confirmed as the new captain of the Super Eagles. Speaking on his new role, the player said it is a major responsibility that he is ready to shoulder with the full support of his teammates and officials. Ndidi emphasized that leadership in the national team must be collective, built on a shared understanding and unity of purpose, rather than individual authority. The 29-year-old revealed that he has already begun consultation within the squad, particularly with senior players, to ensure everyone is aligned with the team's objectives as Nigerian targets a fourth AFCON title in Morocco. Ndidi further stressed the importance of clarity and unity within the group, noting that leadership conversations have focused on keeping the squad focused and committed. Former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua knocked out YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul in their controversial Netflix-backed bout in Miami. The fight of the Kaseya Center, we saw both men reportedly splitting a mammoth purse of $184 million, had triggered alarm across boxing due to the gulf in physical size and class between Britain's two-time former world champion Joshua and Paul, an internet personality who has forged a lucrative career through a handful of novelty boxing contests. In the event, Joshua made the hard work of defeating his vastly less accomplished opponent before his superior size and power eventually told in the later stages of the 8th-round fight with a 6th-round knockout. A lackluster contest descended into farce at times, with Paul repeatedly dropping into the canvas and grappling with Joshua's legs. To end the news, a quick look at some of the major stories. Brought to you, the President Bola Tinubu will on Saturday depart Abuja on a 3-state visit to Borno, Bauchi, and Lagos states, and also brought to you that the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has said the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking deliberate steps to stabilize Nigeria's economy, strengthen national security, and lay the foundation for long-term national renewal. And also, we brought to you a report that Kaduna State Governor Ubasani has approved the enhanced service conditions for teachers across the state. That's all on the news this hour. I am Becky Usar. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.